the school of the self. There are times in your life when what you need most is you. You need to be alone, by yourself, with your thoughts, with your ideas, with your emotions, and with all that is you. Because ultimately, the person you deal with is you. And so there's a practice inbuilt in Islam, but in many religions, a practice of being by yourself, which usually happens in the last 10 days of Ramadan when people retreat to the mosque. They leave their homes and they retreat to the mosque for 10 days. And they just sit there in the mosque, they pray, they read the Quran, and they just remain there in the mosque for those 10 days and stay there, okay? But this is a practice also that you can undertake by yourself. It is said that the Prophet Muhammad, may God's peace and blessings be on him, used to retreat to a cave in his early life, the early period of revelation. And it was in this spiritual retreat when he went into the cave, when he had his first encounter with the transcendent, and when he received revelation. So this practice, the practice of isolation, has been from time immemorial one of the greatest spiritual practices. And people say, what do you do, when you go into retreat, spiritual retreat, khalwa, isolation, what do you do? And the answer to that question is nothing. You do nothing. Because the hardest thing to do is to do nothing. People always find things to distract themselves with, to distract their minds with, to distract themselves so that they don't have to think about themselves and their own lives. Well, what you do when you're in isolation is you do nothing. Okay? You sit there. That's it. You vegetate. It's very important to do that. You sit there, not sleeping, staying awake, and just sitting there. And some people say, well, in meditation, you focus your mind on one object and you only think about that one object. Okay, to try to get to the next level of meditation where you are capable of just emptying the mind completely. Okay, now what I say is, look, be by yourself, sit by yourself, and if your mind wanders, let it wander, because there's something instructional happening in the wanderings of your mind. Okay, be cognizant of how your mind wanders and where it wanders. Okay, because the wanderings of your mind is also a reflection of yourself, a reflection of your troubles, a reflection of who you are at that point, okay, through the wanderings of your mind. So let your mind wander. I'm not talking about meditation, actually. I'm just talking about isolation, okay? Allowing your mind to wander and allowing yourself to be free within yourself, basically. Try it out. Really works. I have, of late, been in relative isolation for 3 weeks or so, 3 weeks. And I'm finding it very, very useful and very, very helpful to just be by myself. A lot of content, the content of my life, has kind of become more clear to me. A lot of the events and happenings of my life in these past few years have become clear to me. A lot of the things I attract to myself, the kinds of decisions I make, has become clear to me. And finally, if you do want things to be different from how they were, you need to reflect on how they are first. You need to reflect on how things were in the past, what types of decisions you have made that perpetuates the cycle of the past. In order to break out of the cycle of the past, you need to obviously do things differently. And in order to do that, you need to consider yourself supremely accountable, not just for the decisions you make, but even for the happenings in your life. And I know people will say, look, that doesn't make sense. How can you say that, I'm responsible for things which are not in my control? Okay, and therein lies the power of being. If you consider yourself accountable even for things that happen that are not in your power and not in your control, you will start to unfold the steps that were taken in the direction of the event that occurred, and that was in your control. So be authentic, be with yourself at all times, be in your body, be present, and you will see so much more.